Well, there's a lot of frustrations, a lot of different directions, a lot of ideas. We've got a lot of people want to see changes made. People really want the conference to pull together so we can be successful, but our main priority is thinking about the weight of responsibility that we all share as members of Congress, especially now that Israel has been attacked. Our situation in our border, knowing that terrorists have come into our country. Members were sharing their stories of being at the border recently, where there were Iranians coming across, people from Syria coming across, known terrorists that have been caught, so many gotaways, and we're all talking about this could, what happened in Israel could happen in our country. A lot of talk about inflation, and just mainly everyone's frustrated. Talk about changing the rules to motion to vacate has been proposed. Talking about how to vote for a speaker. Should we come to 218 in conference before we take it to the floor, or should we go to the floor and everyone is responsible for their own voting cards? So there's been a lot of different ideas presented, but not really any concession. We're supposed to do that when we get back in conference.
What is your view on that? Do you think that if members have not even 218, but they arrive at a majority on a certain candidate here, should that person get the support on the House floor by House Republicans?
Now, that was presented, but at the same time, that wasn't given to Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah.
So people were saying, why do we make that change when Kevin McCarthy wasn't given that? I know for sure I came here to represent my district, and I'll continue to represent my district. And I'm not a member of any group. I'm a free agent, so I don't have to say I'm voting specifically exactly the way the group wants me to. And I think that's important to keep. At the same time, the issues I presented I see two problems. Number one, there's been a lot of bad things happen in our country, but no one's held accountable. Dr. Fauci hasn't been held accountable. No one's been held accountable for the COVID shutdowns. No one's held accountable for the border invasion. No one in the Biden family is held accountable. And a lot of the Republican voters in the base are angry because they never see anyone held accountable. So when a group of 8 joined with Democrats to oust our speaker, that was something people cheered for because they were ready for someone's head on a platter, but it shouldn't have been our Republican speaker. And that's how I feel. Secondly, another situation that I think we really need to change is our calendar. Our calendar sets us up for failure year after year. We shouldn't go home for 6 weeks and have 2 weeks left before the government shuts down for our appropriation bills. I believe in preparing for success and not preparing for failure. So those were the changes that I proposed to be made, but I think it was wrong what happened to Kevin McCarthy, and I think that the people that have done wrong to the American people, they're the ones that need to be held accountable.
Can you talk about the frustrations that were directed towards those 8 who voted against McCarthy?
Some of that was addressed in the conference. There was also a lot of talk with members saying that we shouldn't be attacking each other. So that was also raised. But yeah, there's definitely frustration toward those 8 people. And there's quite a few members in there that said they're not ready to move forward to elect a speaker. So that was our discussion session. And then we've got conference again tomorrow. And then again on Wednesday.
So there was no consensus on any specific individual that you want to lead you, or any way that the rules around that would change?
No, there's a group that are still aligned with Kevin McCarthy and would like to bring him back as speaker. There's a number supporting Jim Jordan. There's a number supporting Steve Scalise, but this conference was not set up to come together for a speaker. This one was set up to more of a discussion to try to figure out and solve problems going forward.
What do you make of?
Wednesday is unrealistic to come to an agreement on who should be speaker?
Do
you think Wednesday is unrealistic as a timeline to come to an agreement on speaker?
I think that what's realistic is that we control the majority in Congress, and we have to lead. And I think that's what we need to do.
What do you make of McCarthy leaving the door open to a potential comeback bid as speaker?
Well, he was widely supported. There was only 8 Republicans that didn't support him last week, so I think that's a wise move to leave the door open.
Does
Would
it make
you
it more?
support it?
Does it make it more difficult to coalesce around one candidate for speaker, given that that's 3 choices instead of 2?
I think everything's difficult right now, to be honest with you. I don't know how to answer that question any other way. This is unprecedented. It's certainly something new. But I was glad to sit and listen to everyone's different thoughts, opinions, ideas, and how to go forward, and especially hearing everyone's shared concern for Israel and shared concern for our own border and you know, the dangers that we all could have as a nation.
Should the 8 be held accountable in some way because they partnered with Democrats to oust a Republican speaker?
Some of that was mentioned, but now remember, you're talking to one who had 11 Republicans joins with Democrats last Congress to kick me off my committees. And I'm completely against that. I do not support expelling a member or expelling someone from our conference. I think that would be the wrong way to go. I'm for problem solving. So I liked listening to a lot of the ideas, but I think we have a lot more work to do.
And Congressman, I know that you initially threw your support behind Trump for speaker, but obviously he's said he's not running and he's going to support Jim Jordan. Who are you supporting?
I don't have a candidate I'm supporting right now. I'm more interested in solving the problems that got us to this place. And then being able to find a candidate. So I'd prefer to stay in a meeting like that all day long instead of just a few hours at
Who do
night.
you, so far, what you've heard, who do you like so far? Are you leaning any way?
Well, they haven't presented yet. So tomorrow is the candidate forum. So where they'll present their ideas. I supported President Trump as an interim speaker because the American people support him. They support his policies. They're the policies that the American people want back. And we represent the American people, so it made sense to me to bring him in for a short time until we solve issues.
Would you support McCarthy coming back into the role?
I really want to see everyone present their plan, and again, I want to see the problems solved that got us here.
When you talk about the problems, the single member motion to vacate?
All of the problems. I mean, we have a whole list of problems that brought us here. Yeah.
What distinctions do you